Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, guys. It is Saturday, November 12th, 2022, and it is time for a little circle talk. And again, I want to truly thank all of you guys for continuing to support us. Hey, Laura. Hey, Rebecca. Hello, everybody. As you come in, just say hello and, welcome to another version of Circle Talk. And it is Ladies Takeover Month. And so the ladies have been in charge this month, and I'm really excited to have another amazing pillar to our community. Um, this woman I met just friend of mine, and I went on her page one day, and she had posted this saying. It was a quote about self love, and I read the quote, and it really touched me in a pretty special way, and I was just like really inspired to know a little bit more about this individual, and so I I I Facebook stalked her a little bit, and as I scrolled through her pages and noticed that she had done a few other quotes that I really was impressed by, and so I started, stealing a couple of those and posting them on my page, and I realized that we knew a lot of familiar faces, important people that are doing amazing things in the community. And she's also doing it herself. And so I was like, well, let me give her a little ringy ring and see if she would like to be a part of, the Ladies Takeover Week. And she said, of course, let's do it. Let's talk. Let's see what we come up with. And so we came up with self-love for today. And she's really excited to share her thoughts on it, as well as a little bit about herself and her life. And so we're going to bring her on here in a minute. But before we do that, we want to first say thank you to our sponsors, iShotYou.com. Thank you so much for continued support. If anybody's locally in the area looking for someone to get some pictures done, it is the fall/winter time. If you guys want some amazing, beautiful pictures with the colors, amazing colors right now. When you look outside, you got the green and the orange and the reds. Marvin Patterson is the guy you want to get in contact with. Obviously, if y'all see that picture right there, Marvin Patterson took that one and that one over there. He's taken pretty much all the pictures of my house. Amazing photography that he does, and he'll get you done at a reasonable price. So hit up iShotYou.com. Next, we got Icon ENT. Shout out to my guy, Junior Thomas. Thank you so much for continuing to be a part of the circle and everything that we do. If anybody's in the area and looking for some transportation to any event that's going on and you want to go in style, hit up my guy, Junior Thomas. He has the party bus business on lock. There's nobody doing it like he's doing it right now. He's got the TV, he's got the music, he's got the drinks if you're in the drinking. And he has a good time. He's driving himself, and he's giving reasonable prices because he's the only one in here doing it. So hit him up, and he'll get you done right. Junior Thomas at Icon ENT. Last but not least, the Chaya Movement. Thank you so much, Zakia, for continued support. This woman's doing amazing things in our community. If you guys have not went to thechayamovement.com and checked her out, please do. She's a great friend of mine, and trust me, I would not put my seal of approval on anyone that isn't doing great work in our community. And she is definitely one that you guys have to pay attention to and go and support her in everything that she's doing. So hit up thechayamovement.com and see what she has in store for you guys this holiday. So without further ado, I want to keep nobody waiting. We're going to go ahead and bring in our guest for today. Mrs. Megan Clark is in the building. Let's go.
Hey.
Yo. I had to put the earphones on because I pressed play and I couldn't hear anything.
And it went back.
They playing with my emotions because I don't.
You thought you cracked the code. You thought you know what? It's all good. You thought you cracked the code. I saw the joy in your face.
Yeah, I'm just like, man, hold on. Let me check it out again. I think, say something.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
See, I can hear you so weird. I couldn't hear nothing when the music was playing, but maybe I can hear you now.
Maybe I'm the one that brings this.
Maybe you're the one.
I'm just
It
saying.
has to be. So what's going on today, Miss Megan?
Just typical Saturday of getting things ready for the week and making
Yeah,
sure that things are not just everywhere in the house and
yeah, yeah,
organized, and
yeah.
it makes the rest of the week go smoother. So I'm
You see
working
the
on this. This isn't a habit that I'm particularly good at, but
yeah.
this is my self work that I've put on myself. So
Absolutely. So I see in the background you have a lot of plants back there.
yeah,
You're at one with the plants. Let us know a little
I'm
bit
the
about
one with the
that.
plants. I'm the plant lady. Just call me
Yeah.
Poison Ivy. I am. I'm obsessed. I
Yeah.
love plants. Plants give such good energy to spaces. They clean the air. I love nature, so it's
That's
very
awesome.
much nature's in my house. So if you were
Absolutely.
to, I had my girlfriend was sitting on the couch one time, and she looked over into my living room area or my dining room area, which is the best place because it has the best lighting. I have a ton of
Yeah.
plants in there. She goes, you. It looks like you live in a jungle, girl." I was like, "Maybe I kind of do."
It's absolutely that's a beautiful thing because you know what? You walk through my house, there's not a plant in sight.
I can't imagine a space without. Yeah. It's
I got to get with you on that because
no
I've
go.
never been a plant guy. I feel like if I have them in my house, they're probably gonna die because I'm never here. So
Yeah, you
you know,
have to water them. I mean, taking care of them is a part of it. For
yeah,
sure.
absolutely. It's like taking care of children. You probably should
Yeah,
be around if
right.
you're gonna be a
But at
dad or
least children can be like, "Yo, I'm hungry," or "Hey,
right.
can I get some water?" Plants
Yeah.
are just over there like.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
all right. Well, hey, welcome to Circle Talk. I appreciate you
Thank
for
you.
coming on and spending some time with us. I'm really excited for the conversation. We got a lot of things that we wanted to talk about today, but at first, we always want to start from the very beginning. So, where did this all start from you? Like, where are you from? Like, let us know a little bit about yourself.
I I always tell people I'm from everywhere.
Yeah.
I was raised military, so I was a military brat. My dad was in the Air Force. He was a fighter pilot. So now I'm where I had to make myself, with living with that ego, you got to really be big and have big personality. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I was born in Germany, and then I went from Germany to Texas, and Texas to the Philippines, and the
Mm,
Philippines to Florida, and then Florida to here. But I got here
that's
when I was 13, so this is
yeah.
home. I've lived here for 30
Absolutely.
years, so
Absolutely.
this is where I call home. So,
So where are your parents originally from? Are they both originally from same place or
well, my mom is originally from Ohio, so she grew
hmm,
up in Ohio, and my dad was military as well.
hmm,
I have a long lineage of military in my dad's side, and he
hmm, hmm.
actually moved around when he was younger, but then he ended up moving to Washington in high school, and all my dad's side of the family is pretty much from here. Other than that,
Yeah,
they've lived here for their adult lives. My
absolutely.
dad moved to Florida, hooked up with my mom,
Yeah,
fell madly in love,
yeah.
and the rest is history. So,
Shout out to the parents for creating an amazing person.
oh, I thank you, thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. So what was one of the things that I would say when you got here? Obviously, did what school did you end up going to when you guys got here? You was
So it was a bit of a. I came from a private Catholic school in Florida,
okay,
and
okay.
so it was a bit of a culture shock when I got to Man Junior High in Lakewood.
Shout out to
Um,
May.
Man, let me tell you, I had no idea about gangs or like anything like that. And my first week there, somebody's boyfriend got shot over the weekend, and I was like shot like with a BB gun. Like what's going on? Like I was so naive. I had no idea.
Right.
And so that was a little bit of a like, whoa, like people are
Yeah.
dying.
Hello.
Like, yeah, it was crazy. It was
That
crazy.
is crazy. So you went to Man after Man. Where'd you end up at after that?
After that, I went to Curtis. So I was in
Okay.
university place.
Yeah,
So
UP.
I went to UP.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother, yeah, that's a whole nother
It's
set of stories.
Yeah, it's crazy because the schools that I imagine you're going to are definitely schools that kind of like what I went to, where there's, you know, I mean, my I went to Stadium, so I
Okay.
mean, it was
So,
very diverse. I don't know if
right.
you got the same thing from Curtis, but it was very, very diverse for me.
It
Um,
was diverse, but it's still a university place. You know, I
yeah,
mean, it's
yeah,
still
yeah,
UP.
absolutely.
You know, I mean, it wasn't nearly as diverse as it is now. You know, now you
Mm.
go into a university place and it's much more diverse.
Right, right, right.
Whereas in the 90s, it was diverse, but it wasn't super diverse.
So did you deal with any? I mean, because I ask a lot of people about race. Did you deal with any issues as far as people giving you issues because of your race? Anything like that at all?
You know, I was very privileged. You know,
Mhm.
I was very privileged growing up that I didn't really have a lot of issues. You know, I'm a white woman, I'm a white girl. Um, I saw a lot of racism growing
Mhm.
up. Military, you know, you're going
Yeah.
to have that. Even when I was much younger,
Hmm.
I would see it in different spots in different
Yeah.
areas of my life. And it was definitely always, I'm a social, like social justice is at the heart of and the core of who I am. So
Yeah.
for me, it was always something I didn't really understand. Like, why would you like not like somebody just because they're different from you,
Yeah.
for any reason? And
Absolutely.
that was always something that, you know, like we had talked about before, when you're in the military or when you're going traveling to different countries, like I'm used to not being the like majority. I'm
Yeah.
used to being the, you know, the global, like being around the global majority is what I've always kind of done. And so for me, that's just
Mhm.
that's normal. Like everybody, why would you want to be around a bunch of people that look like you? I want to be around a bunch of people that look different and can offer different things. And I want to learn about your culture and I want to learn
Mhm.
about your family values. And
Right.
so for me, I've always loved learning and being a part of things. And so um racism just, you know, I couldn't get with it. Like I couldn't
Yeah.
understand it. I don't there's nothing that um anyone could any argument that anybody could say for not liking another person just based upon their race. That's just nuts to me.
Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
everybody to win. Like let's do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's all about, all of us winning. Not
Right.
just because I'm a different color, or I eat different types of food, or whatever the
Right.
case may be. We all should be winning at the end of the day.
That's
So
it.
I like that part. I like that part. So what I asked you this earlier, I'm gonna throw it at you again, and you tell me what was the most important thing that you learned from all the traveling when you were dealing with your parents being in the military and stuff. What did you learn? What is a big thing that you could say? If I didn't learn this, at a young age, I probably wouldn't be the same person I am today.
Open minded.
Yeah,
Very open minded. You know, with you know, I'm an extrovert. So when
yeah,
I would go into places like what we talked about earlier, like you go into military neighborhoods and things along those lines, you, I mean, you get to pick your friends, but you don't
right.
really get to pick your friends because
Yeah,
that
true.
it's whoever's living next door to you. You know, if they're the same age, you know, I mean, or your parent, they're in your parents' squadron, things along those lines. So I really had, it was one of those things that if I wanted friends, I
Mhm.
had to just be very much more open and accepting of all different kinds of people. You know,
Mhm.
um, I've had lots of different friends from lots of different backgrounds, people with disabilities. Like it didn't
Yeah,
for me. Plus, I just so happen to love people. Like I
yeah.
love getting to know just different things. So I just saw it as an opportunity to really just have more friends. You know, I mean, shoot, it's a great. Uh, the military really brings experience and getting the appreciation of different cultures. You know, with me moving around and living in different countries, um, you can experience a country two different ways. You can move
Mhm.
in, stay on the base, not go anywhere, make sure you just still hit the KFC up, you
Yeah,
know, Burger King, do your thing, or you can go off base and really experience different cultures. And by doing that, it blows your mind, man. Everybody
mhm.
lives so differently. But it's a beautiful thing. And there's things that I've picked up just from my travels and just from the experiences of people that I've been around and that have loved on me and I've loved, that have shown me just, you know, I came
Mhm.
back to the States from being in the Philippines with all sort. I ate with my hands. I spoke Tagalog. Like,
Yeah.
like they didn't know what they were like. Who's she? Like this little
Yeah.
white girl comes in and she's like, pass the soy. Like it for me, that was normal. Like that's what we did.
Right.
So because I was like 5 till 9, and so
Right.
that was just normal stuff. And it wasn't until my mom was like, she's like, you can't eat like that. Like you can't do this. And I was like, why? You
Right.
know. So
Huh. Interesting. So let's talk about relationships real quick.
okay,
Uh, I didn't really throw this at you, but I'm gonna do it now.
go for it.
So I know that I noticed a few of the pictures that you sent to me was of you and your daughter, and your daughter is she's mixed, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, she's white and
Black.
black,
Mm-hmm.
white and black. So has your daughter had any issues at school yet with people messing with her because of her race? Because my daughters are all white and black as well, and they've dealt with some racial issues on that aspect. Has your daughter dealt with any of that yet?
She's very blessed. She's had some microaggressions. There's been some things said that I've had to have conversations with people that have
Mhm.
made ignorant comments, or mainly it's just been she's been in the room and so she's come home and been like, Mom, like, why did Miss So and so or Mr. So and so say that this or that? And I'm like, oh. So I tried to there's been a few times where I've had to come in and just educate people, on how you're
Yeah.
speaking to this generation, any generation, when you hold somebody's attention, and when you're teaching, when you're in a teaching position, an educator, you
Mhm.
have to be careful of imparting the things that you don't know about. Like, don't speak it if you don't know anything about it. I think
Right.
so. There's been those situations where
Mhm.
I try to come alongside people and say, hey, did you know this? Or this is a book that you could read, or here's a podcast, maybe listen to this.
Mhm.
But really, one of the things I will say when it comes to racially, when I first moved Gabby out of, we were at Crestwood in Bonnie Lake when she was younger, because I owned a
Okay.
house in Bonnie Lake, and then we moved into University Place,
Mhm.
and she wasn't a fan in the University Place School District, and it was because she just felt like there was a lot of like, not. It was the way that she was treated as a token. There was a lot of tokenism.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
when she said, so I moved her to Baker. Or first, I moved her to Bernie to be with me when I bought a house over here on the South End. And then I
Right.
moved her to Baker, and she's now at Mount T, and she loves it.
That's cool.
She loves the fact that it's diverse. She loves the fact that nobody's touching her hair, or nobody's making comments, or, oh, I really, just silly comments. Just like I said, microaggressions everywhere. And that's what she's had to deal with virtually. But
Mhm.
she's over at Mount T. She loves it.
That's cool.
Um, and she's having a great time. She's an A student. I got to put that little shout out to her. She's been getting
Yay.
all A's and
Shout out
working.
to Gabby. Hey,
Yeah,
getting A's, straight A's.
third year of Korean. She's in Korean.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
That's really cool.
From
So, have you guys had some? I mean, because obviously this conversation has to venture over to self love at some point.
mhm.
Have you had any conversations with her about loving herself, regardless of?
Oh, all like she gets tired of me. Um, because I think that I came out of a household where my mom didn't really love herself the way that
Mm,
she should have. And
mhm.
when you don't do that for yourself, it shows you, especially with a daughter, you know, I mean, and my dad wasn't around for parts because he was, you know, off and about. And when he was around, you know, he wasn't really around, you know, I mean, he was kind of checked out. And so there was a lot. I came out of my childhood with some self-esteem issues, definitely. And so I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make sure that Gabby didn't have those issues and that she was very much had a solid sense of self and whatever that self looks like, you know. So it's funny, she cut her hair during COVID, and the other day she said to me, "Why'd you let me do that? You shouldn't have let me do that." And I said, "Because you wanted to do it. Like you need, I wasn't going to tell you no." She's like, "Well, when I asked for a rolling backpack in second grade, you said no." And I was like, "That's different. My kid is not coming into school with a rolling backpack." I was like, you know, that's different. But, you know, I mean, I think that it's really important. And I've always given her the space to express herself and be herself. And I think that that's really important. And, you know, I mean, she's been with me when I've been a part of community events, and she's been with me alongside me, seeing the work that I do and seeing things that, you know, to get involved with lots of different people. And you know, one of the things that's really important to me with her being a Black woman or growing into being a Black woman, I have a lot of strong Black women that I have around her, and I want her to be a part of and have models and examples of. You know, that's the things that I can't do because I am not a Black woman. You know, I want her to have that in her life because it's important. You know, I think that it would be very selfish of me to think that I can give her certain things that I can't, just because of my background, because of the way I'm packaged.
And I mean, I'll just say, I don't really want to get too in depth about, you know, the relationship or anything like that. But is father not around to?
No, he's there. He takes her every other weekend. You know, he's great dad, loves her very much. But it's a different dynamic not having a dad in the household.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm realistic about that. You know, I'm not going to tell you that I'm strong enough to take both sides, because I'm not. I'm a woman.
Absolutely.
You know, and her daddy and her relationship with her daddy is very important. And so she goes with him every other weekend, and she loves her daddy. That's
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into this real quick. We know a couple people. Like I didn't realize we ventured in the same, you know, we might, well, they always say Tacoma's such a small town. I mean, you know, just a few mil, but like you've done a lot, and a lot of the things that you've done. I mean, Rashi, I've known Rashi since I was like 11, 12 years old. You know, Lynetta and her husband, I've known them for a very, very long time. Like, you're busy in the community. Obviously, I heard you touch on Bernie Elementary. Tell us a little bit about what you do at Bernie.
I am family liaison. So I work alongside families to break down barriers, to create access, and get them the resources that they need. So often we have kids that come to school and we're like, okay, you know, take off all the stuff you're dealing with at home and come learn. And it's like, no, if basic needs aren't being met, then it's really hard as an adult to function, let alone as a child. So, you know, it's my job to make sure that families get the resources that they need to provide a stable home environment and send their kids off with, you know, full able body, that whole child. That's what Tacoma's the reason why my position was created, is to truly nurture the whole child, which is more than academics. So.
Yeah. And how long have you been doing that? Because didn't you at some point get into like the whole teaching thing?
I was. So I've been in this position for 7 years.
Okay.
And I actually before was a first grade teacher at Reed. I've been an interventionist at Mary Lyon. I was a kindergarten teacher at Grant.
Wow.
I taught at Lighthouse Christian in Gig Harbor for 3 years before I had my daughter. In education, I've started out as a teacher. That wasn't my jam, though. I loved it, but my jam is what I do now because, like I said, I love people. I love seeing success. I love to be able to come alongside families and serve them in a way that creates generational change, that gives them the opportunity to truly give their kids and families what they want to give them. So,
Absolutely. Well, that's awesome. I'm sure anyone that has the opportunity to work with you will definitely remember that, and I'm sure you're amazing at what you do. Obviously, you've been in the game for a minute. Obviously,
not that bad. I'm all right.
It's kind of funny. We was talking about that position and how like I had a friend actually ask me about it, and so I was like, "Yo, I need to get in contact with somebody that knows a little bit about it." And then come to find out, like, we are meeting this week and you know all about it. Small world, you know what I'm saying? So let's talk a little bit about self-love. How important is self-love to you?
It's everything. It's the foundation of what you do. If you don't love yourself, then, how are you going to show anybody else how to love you? One of the biggest things, there's a quote that I really like that says, self-care / self-love is giving the world the best of you. And if you're not at your best, you're only giving the world pieces of you, or kind of like a broke down version of you. I forget, the quote goes on from there, but that's my summary anyway. But it's just, if you really want to give people and what you do and your family and your kids and your significant other the best of you, you need to be able to pour into yourself and accept and love who you are. Like I said, growing up, I came out of like the hole that I came out of my self-esteem. It was and it guides your choices and your decisions and what you do with your life. If you don't have self-love, you can't make a difference in what you do. You can make an impact, but it's not as impactful because it's not everything. It's not the whole, it's like anything. You're not going to be able to perform at 100 if you don't feel like you're worth it,
So what are some things that someone that is struggling with self-love can do to find that love? Because obviously you said your mom, she kind of went through a time where she didn't love herself. What are some things, what are some tips to help someone that's kind of going through that situation?
A lot of self-work. You have to sit with yourself. For years I avoided myself by being in social circles or being out doing things, sitting at home by myself. I still struggle with this, but it wasn't something I wanted to do. I don't want to hang out with myself. I didn't like myself. And so it's really, truly giving yourself grace, knowing that every day you're not going to be amazing, or sometimes you're going to fall. There's going to be mistakes, but you have to keep showing up for yourself no matter what you're doing, and do the work. There's going to be days, like I said, where I try to concentrate on things that I can do to steadily improve myself. It's a never ending. You're never going to be like, oh, arrived. I love myself enough. I'm good. It'll never happen. So
it's an ongoing,
So I just try to pick certain things to work on. Like I said, I'm trying to do where I'm setting myself up for success on the weekends instead of, going on 10 from Friday night till Sunday. And because I love going and doing things and being a part of things. I want to visit everybody. If you got something going on, I want to come support you. I want to do this. But I had to step back and say, okay, am I supporting me? Am I doing what I need to support what I have going on? And I wasn't. I was getting to Sunday like, oh, boy, that was fun and exciting. But man, I don't have, look at this laundry. and there's no food in the refrigerator. Like I had to like check myself. And so that's my
Right.
journey right now. That's where I'm at in the journey is okay, set yourself up for success, because that's a part of self-care. That's a part of self-love.
Mm.
It's
Mm.
not always the romantic or the getaways or the massages. That's part of it. And I make time for that.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah,
it
self-love and self-care. I love how you put those go hand in
they
hand.
do.
You know,
It is
absolutely do.
self-love is self-care, you know.
Hmm. Absolutely. So, in your particular situation, just we're just talking about you in general. What's a way that you consider yourself as a person that does like self care? What's something that you do each day that you consider yourself doing? This is self care for me, um, so that I continue to love myself. What's something that you do that you would consider as self care towards your loving yourself? Is there?
I try to take 5 to 10 minutes, not that long. I try to take just some time to sit with myself. And go through what I have, either what I have to do for the day. I try to make sure that I have time in the mornings to get up. I'm not a. I don't do well if I'm rushing, so I am an early riser. I tried. I haven't been that good. Don't tell Sean. I haven't been that good. Well, he already knows. I haven't been that good. I've been going to boot camp the last 2 weeks. He's gonna totally be
Uh
like.
oh. Yeah.
So,
Uh
but that's usually part of my routine, going to
Yeah.
the gym a few times a week and making sure that I'm getting. So when I don't go in the mornings, I'll wake up, because your body, once it starts doing that, you start waking up. We old people, we start waking up at 4 a.m. just randomly for no reason. Um,
See. See.
so I try to take that time to really do things for myself. Give myself time to make breakfast. It doesn't happen all the time, but give myself enough time to sit and maybe read a passage, do something to where I'm pouring into just being still. If you see me in person, I'm on 10 a lot of the times. I'm like, go, go, go. And so I need those times to take a deep breath and just
Yeah.
breathe.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about a time when you felt like you were at your wits' end and you just couldn't figure out what to do, but you did it. You figured it out. Like, have you been in a situation where everything just went wrong and you just didn't know what to do and came up with something? You had something for you to
Yeah,
get
I
out that.
mean, a few years ago, my mom had a stroke. She fell, she had a stroke. We had to sell her home. It was a ton of different things that we had to go through as a family. And I talk about exhausted.
Yeah.
I was constantly having to do all these different things and making sure she was good and making sure the house was all ready. Had to get the house up and running. And this is the house I grew up in. Like
Yeah.
there was a lot of emotions to process in just a few months, and I was constantly feeling like I was at my wit's end.
Mm.
But really, the part of it that got me through it all was, a, there's no other option,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
B, I always remember who's watching me. If I
Yeah.
fall apart, Gabby sees that. I want to make
Absolutely.
sure she sees that, yes, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. There's going to be days where I'm cranky, but I keep going, and I make sure that I still pour in, that I'm
Mm.
still making time to sit and relax or be a part of things and do things. There was a lot for those few about 6 months really that it tore me. It was a
Yeah.
lot, and I had to step back from things.
Right.
There were things that I had to say no on. And, I love to say yes, like, let's do it. How
Yeah.
can we collaborate? How can we do this? But I had to step back from a lot of different things in community. And I struggle with FOMO. I want to fear of missing out is a real it's a real thing. And for
Yeah.
me, it's super, because I'm like, I want to be a part of all these cool things. But
Yeah.
I had to sit back and say, okay, what's the most important thing right now? And I was able to pull through because, I want to make sure that Gabby sees that when times get hard, you don't just lay down, you keep
Yeah.
going.
Gotta
And,
be strong.
you just gotta realize that some seasons are work and hustle seasons, and some
Mhm.
seasons are, more relaxing, more gliding,
Mhm.
but if you see birds, they don't just get up in the air and glide just automatically. They have
Right.
to get up there, So I make sure that I'm constantly working and hustling and doing what I need to do, so there can be those times of gliding.
Hmm. Yes, yes, absolutely. So I got a couple scenario questions, just a couple.
Okay.
You've been really, really busy working with the kids, and so I'm gonna throw some kid questions
Oh,
because
okay. All right. Kid questions. I like those.
we like kid questions. So this one is a little heavy, but let's say you're doing your job at work. Bernie, shout out to Bernie, all the kids at Bernie, and you decide you heard there was some commotion going on in the bathroom, and uh, somebody needed to go in and check it out. So you walk up in there and you see uh, one of these black kids getting beat up by three white kids.
Okay.
What do you do? What are you gonna do?
First of all, stop. Don't no.
Yeah,
And I think, it's immediately, you need to separate the children. You need to find out what on earth is going on.
yeah,
I think it's important to most definitely have parents come in. I mean, it needs to be, you need to figure out what the motivation, what the, all those things.
yeah,
It's conversations. I mean, I'm very blessed in the fact that I have really great relationships with a lot of the kids at Bernie. So
yeah,
with me being there for the last 7 years, I've had siblings. I've been, you know, I'm definitely in auntie mode most of the time when I'm rocking through there, because I've seen these kids grow up. Most
yeah.
of our fifth graders were kindergartners or preschoolers.
Mm,
So it's finding out what's going on. What why would you do that? We have situations where people have said certain terms that have been very hurtful and harmful to other children.
mhm,
You This is reality. You're dealing with society. It's just a smaller version, and
mm.
a lot of times the things that kids say, um, they're getting at home.
Yeah,
So that's a conversation. I mean, if it's something that's racially motivated, absolutely, that's a conversation that needs to be had, because we don't play like that at Bernie. Um, we're most definitely, hate has no home there. It doesn't
mhm.
it doesn't work like that. So if that is your I forget the word that I want. If that's your, I don't know, mentality, or
Yeah,
there's a word that I'm trying to think of, and it's such a smart word, and I love to use big words, but I can't do it.
uh,
But if that's how you move through life, you can move on.
yeah,
We don't
yeah,
mind,
absolutely.
you
Yeah,
know.
we always tend to have conversations about that. I mean, it's really important, to remind our kids that enjoy who you are, enjoy who they are, learn something. If you don't necessarily understand it, then learn.
Well, and
Learn.
I always push in and just make sure that my kids know that the way people treat you is not a doesn't have anything to do with your worth. So
Hmm.
never judge your worth on the way people treat you. The way people treat you is a them thing. It's not a you thing. So you need to be clear. I you need to be really understanding that fact, because that took me a long time. People would say mean things, people would do mean things, and I would always take it so personally, because I'm very self reflective. I would think, oh, I must be doing something wrong, or I must be doing that, or, and not to
Hmm.
say, I mean, that sometimes the way people treat you is an example of, because of what you're doing out there. But
Yeah.
in reality, it's really important for kids to understand that, because some people base their self-worth on just purely how other people treat them. And that's not facts, man. And in
Yeah.
different situations, we really need to pour into our kids a very solid understanding of who they are and how it's most definitely okay for them to be themselves.
Mhm.
Um, so
So let me ask you this. This is another question, and I just thought about this. Something happened with my daughter about a year ago. She was playing football, and she was at a football game, playing with the guys, and um, one of her friends came over to me and told me that somebody was talking mess about her hair.
okay.
I mean, I'm not going to tell you how I handled it, but how would you handle that if your daughter's friend came up to you and said, "This boy over here is talking about your daughter's hair and she's ugly and all this and that"? How do you handle it?
So one thing my baby brother taught me, especially as kids get older, is they don't want you to fight their fights. They don't want you, So my thing is I always try to empower Gabby. I'm like, well, if somebody were to say something like that, I would talk to Gabby. Like,
Mm,
is that boy saying something about, your hair? And if Gabby was like, yeah, whatever. And I'd say, it's really important that you stick up for yourself. And these are some things you can say.
mm,
And I try not to, it's hard because I'm a mama bear and and I'm a 0 to 60 person. It took me a long time to get that in check as well.
yep,
But
yep,
it's really about making sure that they feel like they can stand up for themselves and that I've pretty much planted a lot of seeds in Gabby where she has no problem telling you, I don't like that. Don't talk to me like that. That's not
mhm,
true. I do the same thing with the kids at school, when they'll come
yeah,
up to me and say, so and so said I was ugly. And I'm like, well, are you ugly? They're like, no. I'm like, then why are you listening to them?
yeah, true, true,
I think that it's really important that we allow kids to fight their fights.
yeah,
I was at a volleyball game for my daughter at a high school, and these two young ladies had beef. And I
mhm,
saw the mom, 40 years old, come out the stands flexing on this child. And
yeah,
I about lost my mind. I don't care what this young lady has done to your child,
right,
but you have to empower your child to feel comfortable and confident in themselves. Because I'm going to tell you what, when she's 22, 23, somebody shoulder checks her in the club, you're not going to be standing there. I mean, shoot, with this mama, who knows? She probably will be standing there. But
yeah,
the fact of the matter is you have to teach your children how to stand up for themselves
yeah,
because you're
absolutely,
not always going to be there.
absolutely,
And if it's a consistent thing, if it's a bullying thing, if they're constantly on them, then that's a conversation that you need to have with those parents.
mm,
Because that's the kind of
facts.
accountability that you're not going to be able to check their kid like they are. And then
Yeah,
if they while out when you tell them what their child is doing, then you already know that there is nothing that you're going to be able to do
yeah,
to change that. You just need to make sure that your child's out of that environment.
good answer. Yeah, I probably should have, nah,
Look,
I
10
I was
years
that
ago,
guy.
it would have
I
been
was
a
that
different
guy.
story. Yeah. I mean,
I was
it's
that
just
guy.
learning. It's just learning. And there have been times where I've popped off at the mouth and said certain things that I
Mhm.
shouldn't have. It's a learning lesson. I always tell my
Yeah.
kids, you're going to grow through it or you're going to go through it. You decide what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was a situation where this young man was talking about my youngest daughter.
Mm,
It was her first time at the game, and he was talking mess about her. And
mm,
this guy he had a track record of getting out of line with a lot of people. I had seen him at plenty of games, talking to adults crazy,
right.
kids crazy. I heard he was grabbing on my daughter's hair, and then this happened,
Hmm.
and they came over and said something to me about it. And so,
Right.
I just went and talked to him for a
Right.
minute.
And sometimes that's just it. And I
That
think
was
I
it.
find that scariest part of being an adult is going and talk to somebody really calmly. When I start talking calm to you, because you can tell that I could just eat you up, child.
Yeah.
So I just, I just talk real.
Yeah.
Somebody calling you out. I
Yeah, that's my best friend, Rebecca. She
yeah.
know what happened. I was little ticked off, and
It's
yes, I did walk on the middle of the practice field, and just I just asked him what he's saying and why
right.
is he saying that to me. And I said, if you got something to say, you can say it to me. I wasn't gonna fight him or nothing, but I did say, hey,
But
keep
it's
your comments to yourself.
right. Right.
Yeah, it's a little crazy.
It's okay. I've done
All
my
right, let's move on to the next question. So this is my last one. This is my last
okay.
question. Let's say you walk into the bathroom again. Everything happens in the bathroom.
And everything's obviously we're
Yes,
very focused here.
we're working at Bernie, doing our thing. We walk into the bathroom, and you see these 3 students shooting up with some drugs.
I lose
How
my
do you
mind.
handle it?
I would lose my
Huh?
mind. I would lose my mind.
Yeah.
It's conversation. Hey, where did you get that? Well, what's going on? It's kids don't just excuse me.
That's all right.
Kids don't like they're exposed to things on TV, but they don't have access like that unless it's somebody somewhere, an adult is involved.
Yeah.
So it's conversation. Kids are kids, and they're always going to. There's going to be things that are going to come along that they're going to have to be. They're going to experience that I didn't experience growing up. But that doesn't mean that they're terrible kids or their parents are terrible people. It just means that something's going on and something needs to be addressed and talked. They need some help. There's someone somewhere is in need of some help, because
Absolutely.
anybody that gives access or puts that in, or however they've got those things, they need to that needs to be dealt with. And then with those children, you just need to pour into them. That's the most important thing, because the minute you shun a kid like that, you shut them down.
Mm-hmm.
If I was shut down for all the stuff I've done over the years, I wouldn't be here right now.
Mm-hmm.
You don't cut kids off. You pour into them. You don't cut people off. You pour into them until somebody shows you that what you're doing isn't helping them, or they're not willing to be a part of what you got going on. I'm always going to pour into them.
Absolutely.
I have boundaries around it, because that's a part of my self-care, part of my self-love. Boundaries are most definitely a part of self-love. But, if I can, I will.
Mm-hmm. So this is a sidebar. Did you guys have a conversation at all at Bernie about the situation, the child that was shot I think it was in Seattle, or a shooting last week? Did you guys have?
It depends on the age.
Mm-hmm.
There is a conversation that that kids will talk about it, especially in our upper grades.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough because you have parents that don't want it talked about, because of it makes kids afraid.
Yeah.
If it was up to me, yeah. But I'm very there are certain things that I think that certain ways of handling things as kids get as at certain ages with kids, but I think transparency is the best way to operate as a parent, or as an adult when children ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that honoring families is also really important. If the family doesn't want that to be talked about, or if the family wants to make sure that you're just not talking about it, giving the kids tools, whatever, I always try to make sure to touch in with parents, because it's their children.
Yeah.
It's not mine. It's not my child.
Yeah, facts. So I heard you like Shania Twain.
Can you believe that? You know what? Talk about like stereotypes. I was like, this dude put Shania Twain on my thing. And I was like, I cannot, no, I don't like Shania Twain. And
No?
so it was funny because when you did it, I was just like, David. He was like, white girl, curly red hair. Yeah, she likes Shania Twain.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No.
No, it was a promo. It was just a promo.
I was like, Shania, and then it kept popping up because every time I went to my store, it was like, this is for the girl. And I was like,
I was totally thinking like, I went through all the pictures and the shots that I chose.
I was like, there is no soul in
I
this
just seen
music.
Shania there.
I was like, Sade, Nina Simone, like maybe some Jill Scott, like give me
the story behind it for everybody that's watching. If you guys didn't see the promo that I did, I actually used a Shania Twain song. It's called "This One's for the Girls." It is Ladies Takeover Month, and so I was trying to get, stay on the guideline of the month. So I picked a song for ladies, women, girls, and that was the one that I came up with.
Right.
So I do apologize. She doesn't care for Shania too much.
It's all good.
She's a soul sister, She's a soul sister. I do apologize. Next time, I promise you, it won't happen again.
It's good. Yeah, we're gonna do something 90s hip hop, 90s R&B. I'm
all day.
Damn.
So. All day. I'm an 80s, 90s baby all day. That's what it's all about, But so what's next? What's coming up next? You got anything in store that we can look forward to moving into 2023? You got anything planned? Anything that you're going to be doing that's coming up in the community? What can we look forward to?
Well, I do have a goal, something that's been kind of put on my heart these last few years. So we have a new school at Bernie, and my goal is, as a community, to come together and lean on the district a little bit, lean on the city a little bit. We need a community center on the South End. Don't tell me that Star Center is my community center, because it's a whole freeway away. Like there's a freeway in between Bernie and a lot of the South End on this side of the freeway that kids don't have access, So we used to have the Cambodian church right next to Bernie, used to be a community center. And so my thought is that we should be able to come together and turn the old Bernie into a community center, so that's something that I was telling some folks this past week at a conference I was at, and I was like, I'm just not the organizing person. I'm the rah, rah, rah. Like, I'll pump you up. I'll get everything. But then people are like, okay, so this is what we got to do. And I'm like, ooh, like that saying, you do this, then you do that. That's so I'm trying to, be able to, I might have to call and get connected with Shalisa Shea, because she did such a great job getting the East Side Community Center to come to fruition. But it's my heart. I want to see.
You have some great people in your circle with a little bit of power, and
I'm putting ideas. I'm planting seeds. Because
absolutely.
Truly, to give our kids, you talk about the reason why I volunteer at late night with Lynetta and Rashi is because our kids need somewhere to go. We constantly they're standing around the outside of the store. They're over here at this place. They're doing this. And it's like, okay, well, where else are they going to go?
Right.
Give them somewhere to go, give them somewhere that they can be given opportunities to have grassroots community come in and teach them some things, teach them some dances, have the Pacific Cultural Center, what is it? Asian Pacific Cultural Center. Have them come and teach them some dancing and teach them some
Mhm.
things. And we have, they have a whole kitchen, so let's do some cooking together. Like
Yeah, that's a good
let's
idea.
pour into our kids. You want to change neighborhoods, you want to end gun violence, give them something to do. I
Yes.
sat down at the man, let me tell you, I was the late night a while back, and these kids didn't know how to. I sat down with some 20-year-old. They were 20-year-old mentors. They didn't know how to shuffle. I was like, bruh,
Hard? What?
cards. So, and then,
That's crazy.
some of these kids didn't know how to play dominoes. I was dying. I was like, my goal now, every time I go to late night, is I'm just going to sit down with these kids and just teach them some, like, here's how to shuffle. Let's play some bones. Like, I want,
Yeah.
like, let's come together.
What? You know how to play bones?
Oh,
What?
let me tell you. And I love it, like that, because people count me out. They Shania Twain me, so I'm like, yeah, I can play some bones. I mean, um, yeah, like so
No,
that
you
I
know
think
what?
that
Hey, it's
we
all good.
we always push kids away, and
Yeah.
I think that we need to sit down with them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, hey, anything that I can do to be a part of this, I would definitely love to, help out. I mean, because I'm about the kids, I'm about helping the community. If
Appreciate that.
if getting a community center together will do its part to help these kids not have to cross those freeways or those streets,
Right,
or be around those people that are, trying to manipulate them, do things that aren't, things they should be doing. Then shoot, more, I'm all for it. My kids are right over here too in the same area, so
hmm
for sure, let's get it.
I'm down.
Um,
I'm down. I keep talking about it, so then I can't. I'm holding myself accountable by talking about it.
what you need to do is you got to start making your list of people and
Right,
make sure you stay on top of them and say, hey, are we still on this? And
right,
you got to just get one person until you get enough,
right.
and start getting together and do some meetings and whatever you have to do. Hey, I've never made anything like that happen before, but I would definitely love to contribute and see how I can be of assistance. So
Yeah, I'm
let's,
down.
let's get
Let's
it.
let's
Let's get
talk
it.
about it. Let's get it going, because South End needs some love.
South End needs some love.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Well, hey, this has been a good conversation. I think we've been going for an hour
I
on the
know,
dot.
I
An
know.
hour on the
Well,
dot.
I like to talk, so
You're pretty easy.
you
You're
never
pretty
you never
easy.
have to push me very hard.
I'm a talker too. So when you get two talkers together, it
Right.
just flies by like that. So
Yep.
it's all good.
Yep.
So before we get off real quick, one of the things that I wanted to just mention to everyone, um, that I just continue to forget about, we are doing a Thanksgiving feed in our community on November 27th. If there's anyone out there that would like to donate some canned goods, buy a ham, a turkey, some mashed potatoes, whatever the case may be, if you guys would like to help and assist with that, you guys can hit me in my inbox. You guys can donate to Circle Work 24/7, 365. We're going to go out and try and feed over 100 people. We've been talking about it for the past month and a half, and we are getting a few donations, but we could use a few more. So if you guys would like to help, please do. Just hit me in my inbox. Let me know whatever I can do to help. I will do that. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there just in case I forgot.
That's
But
understood.
thank you again. Thank you
Thank
again so
you.
much, Megan. You're an amazing asset to this community and to the kids that you talk to and you deal with, and the families that you help. And I am glad to be a part of anything that you do moving forward. You're officially a part of my circle,
I
and
appreciate that.
hopefully we can get together and do this again really, really soon.
Yeah,
I
I'm down.
think I think since we know so many of the same people, we have to get together to do something.
Right.
I
I'm
mean,
down.
even if it's just like a barbecue or
Hey, yeah,
whatever, something.
yeah,
We
I'm
all
I'm down. Maybe barbecue to raise some funds for, school supplies. Like, let's do some,
absolutely,
you
let's
know,
get it. I'm with
dominoes
it.
tournament. I'm just gonna take
Hey,
it, raise money. It's okay.
I mean, I still got my first. Actually, it's right there. My second place trophy from the last domino tournament I was in.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
I'm a domino player. So
All
yeah, we
right.
can get it anytime.
Okay. Perfect.
Anytime.
Perfect.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to go ahead and close up shop. Thank you all so much for being here. It's been another wonderful day with Miss Megan Clark and you guys. So thank you guys so much for being here. Next week, we will be with, who are we going to be with next week? Jordan Lively. She is an amazing artist. And if you haven't heard her sing or perform, she's absolutely phenomenal. She's going to come and let us know a little bit about her new album that she just released and what she has going on in her world. I think she's lives across the pond somewhere far away. I just know she's not around here. She's far, far away. But we're going to get with her and talk with her next week. Make sure you guys tune in. It's going to be another great edition of the Ladies Takeover and no Shania Twain. So I'll be playing her own music, so there's no problems.
There we go. There we go.
So
y'all
have yeah, thank you again so much. Y'all have a wonderful rest of the day. We will talk to you guys later. Peace out.
See you later.
Bye-bye.